Hey, what's up, Adrian?
Hey, morning. All right, I just messaged you. It was weird. Zoom was saying that the meeting was scheduled for yesterday.
You know what?
What?
It was because I ended up changing the names of some of like what I had scheduled, and for some reason, like I guess in the API of Zoom, it doesn't update what that name is. So like this one was actually scheduled before yesterday, but I switched it and then put this one next because it's like doing the same thing for me. That's why I was asking yesterday. I don't know if you
Gotcha,
heard with
gotcha.
some
Yeah,
people what was showing up. Yeah, super weird.
yeah, yeah. No worries. As long as we're here.
Got you. How you
Hey, I got a
doing?
quick question for you.
Go ahead.
Um, NCA Toolkit. The
The
you have it.
one-click installer tool.
Yeah, that and also, do you have it deployed on only on DigitalOcean, or do you have it on Hostinger as well
I
on
have it.
your side?
So there's no specific reason, but I have them deployed on all three: DigitalOcean, Hostinger, and Google Cloud.
All right.
But
Um,
that installer one though is specifically for Google Cloud. And if I was to give a preferred one, it would be Hostinger or Google Cloud, not DigitalOcean, because DigitalOcean it runs it up very expensive. Hostinger, you could have a set bill.
yeah, yeah. Would you mind doing something for like a install on Hostinger, like steps? Uh, because I and others are getting stuck on some things on it, and I was wondering like how is
Yeah,
your deployment working? That would be awesome to see.
for sure. I'll show that. I actually need to renew my Hostinger account. I'll do that right now. But yeah, I can do that. And I don't want to say your name wrong. Is it Jaimu? Jaimu? Please, I hope I'm not butchering your name. Jesus Christ. And hello, Philip, as well. How are you doing? Welcome. And you guys don't have to come off mic if you don't. I just want to make sure I say hello to everyone and introduce myself. I think it's you guys' first time. I could be wrong. But yeah, Adrian, I can get into that. Let me just put that as like a little note before I let a few more people join and then go into an intro.
And what's your setup with that? Are you using like Coolify to manage all of that? Because
I have everything just on
all right,
posting.
yeah,
I
I'll
mean,
be I'll be good to
yeah,
kind of step through that because when just a lot of people and myself included, we kind of bumped into issues along the way, and curious how you deployed it because there's different ways you can skin the cat, how you want to set it up, and then how do you set it up so it's maintainable as well, right? So it's like that's why Coolify and MinIO for the data for the S3
yeah. I was gonna
data
say usually there
repository.
isn't much to kind of maintain unless Steven like doesn't update. Now, I particularly like have my own forked version of the NCA toolkit because there's some certain things that just like do not work, and Steven has not added that to like
Hmm.
update the code and stuff like that. But yeah, I can get in to that. But like updating it is not something you really have to that I've like ever thought about or worried about at all. Because you can make very easy like one click commands to just pull the update from GitHub of whatever like new changes there are and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, for like especially N8N, there's been like
Right,
security updates recently over like, hey, upgrade fast, so
right, right.
yeah, if you could show that, that'll be awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. So I'll just give a little introduction because I think Jaden and Philip are new, but my name is Tylen. I'm known as Chowder. I'm a developer, and for the next 30 days, I'm just having interactive build sessions with Claude Code to show people how to use Claude Code with a different variety of tools. A lot of these things are from other communities that I manage or tools that I use for myself or for clients or things that have been requested by a various amount of people that I know in different communities. So please feel free. Like, of course, you don't have to turn on your camera. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask me. These kind of workshops, I guess I would say, are meant to be a little bit different. My goal, in my experience personally with a lot of people I know, is that they actually pay for Claude Desktop, but they do not use Claude Code for whatever reason. So these workshops, if you are in that situation, or if you want to purchase Claude Code, I'd be happy to help you get set up with Claude Code on Windows or Mac. I've done that a few of the last days of these workshops. So you can actually participate. There might be something you want to self-host, or maybe another day that I'm doing something with Claude Code, you want to actually use that software platform because you had an idea. But if you want to, you don't have to say anything. If you just want to be here and watch and hang out, um, that's fine as well. So first, Adrian, really quick before I do that, let me do this really quick for Hostinger. Give me 1 minute and actually pay for my Hostinger account, and I can show you that. That's what you said, right? Specifically Hostinger.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And Philip or Jamie, if there's like any, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term self-hosting, and if you're not, feel free to put it in the chat or you can come up and ask me. But today's session is really based on self-hosting, and self-hosting kind of means paying for, got you, your own uh, infrastructure for various reasons. You might be wanting to self-host a software for, data concerns, GDPR, and other things like that. More than likely, it's usually just to have a lower cost than what a platform is charging you. So there's many tools I could demo today, and I don't mind. It just really depends on what somebody would request. Right now, we're gonna go with the NCA Toolkit, which I'm gonna give a little bit history on after I have this invoice paid for. But I would have had it done already. But as soon as I got out of that meeting, I jumped right up in here. But the NCA toolkit, basically, there when it comes to transforming media, messing with media or audio files, a lot of platforms, if you don't know, use a software called FFmpeg, which is a very popular tool. It's basically a library encoder and decoder media transformation. And basically, a friend that I work for, that me and Adrian are in the same community, I'm an admin. He created a tool called the NCA Toolkit, which basically takes this software, FFmpeg, and turns it into an API to be used. So what would happen is a lot of people might want to get the transcript from Zoom calls or different audios. They might want to put captions on videos. They might have videos in one type of format and want to chop it into a reel or a short. And the FFmpeg tool, the NCA Toolkit tool, allows you to do that basically at free for scale, um, really cheap, and you can self-host it, and which is really cool. So that's the kind of example that I'm going to be showing how to particularly set that up on Hostinger. Um, but if you guys have any other questions or examples of anything like that, feel free to ask me. So let me just make sure I send this really quick. Um, Sorry, I would have definitely already had this set up. Right after this, we'll get right to 30. Um, this would be save. Bam. Okay, we're all good. I've been so busy, I'm forgetting to pay some of my software bills, which is, I guess, a good thing. Oh, did I just get an error for something when I tried to load? Oh, I guess this worked, but I got an error. All right, let me go to my Hostinger. And actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm actually just set up oh no, it's fine. I don't have to do that because this is right here. So let me share my screen and get into this. Read the chat. Familiar, but not technically. Okay, Jamie, any questions you have, like I said, feel free to literally type them in chat and clearly anything you don't understand, I will be happy to go into detail. So I do kind of think you asked me this last time, Agent or somebody did, like what type of VPS I have. Could have been yesterday for the Firecrawl one. I don't pay for might be details might show up. Let me stop that really quick. I pay for one big server because I put like multiple things on there. But you can like some people choose to pay for a smaller server, like multiple smaller servers because they may only have one thing there. So like as an example, like I was thinking right now, I already have it on here and I have a space, but like you could do a smaller price, like the $10 a month, and run this on there, and only that VPS is dedicated for uh doing that specific thing, if that makes sense. But in this case, I just have this doesn't allow me to add another payment, which is kind of
Yeah, I remember you mentioned just going with one bigger one and then just
yeah.
containerize it, you
No,
know.
normally I pay yearly, and obviously you get like bigger discounts and stuff like that. I just for this one, when I migrated just specifically some things that I didn't want to have on DigitalOcean anymore, I moved it to Hostinger because they had a good Black Friday deal. I just kept forgetting to actually use the like the coupon I had to get like 2 years for like $200. But normally that's what I would
Yeah, same.
recommend is for someone to do that. Yeah. So I'm just getting my payment details real quick here before I get into doing this. I'm sorry, guys. Give me one moment. We gotta go through all my sweetness right here. Thank God I have to look everywhere for this. I do this charger. 2 minutes and I will be ready. Just to pay with this for a new card, got a new debit card. Yes, I am who I say I am. Okay, it's gonna take like 10. Okay, my code is here. Even though I remember this browser, I gotta remember. Okay. That's so funny. This didn't even do the thing that it was supposed to help me get so I could pay my bill right now. Can I see my debit card digitally so I can read the numbers? Thank you. Okay. 2 6. See. Take my money or I change my mind. Okay, we're all good, and I can share my screen. Sorry about that. That was terrible. Okay, back into the main thing. So I have my account here. I can go into manage. This is gonna have to boot up, and this might be good. Well, it might not be good. I had a couple of things on here, and if it deleted, which I don't think it did, I think the server was just down. Um, we'll figure that out in a minute. I'll probably have to do it from scratch anyway. But let me just take it a step back real quick. So in order to self-host anything, more than likely you're gonna need a VPS or a virtual machine. And there's many ways to do this. You can use Google Cloud, you can use Hostinger, which most of the time you'll be using something that is on Docker or from a GitHub. There's Hetzner, there's DigitalOcean, multiple ways to self-host. Through research and knowing how some of these platforms charge you will determine like which one you go with. So kind of earlier in the conversation, for Jamal and Philip, just giving context and everybody else who watches this later, you can run this tool that I'm going to showcase, the No Code Architects Toolkit, um, on a plethora of different platforms, but some of them, because of how they operate, charge you more. So DigitalOcean is one of those platforms, but the way that DigitalOcean works, and I'm not sure if it's because of how it's deployed, but it just takes up a lot of resources and it's kind of like a undetermined bill, which is kind of something you don't want. Whereas such as Hostinger, I pay $69 a month. I'm always going to pay $69 a month or whatever monthly price, or if I set a yearly price, obviously I'm not paying monthly, so it doesn't fluctuate. And then things like Google Cloud actually only charge you for what you actually use, which is really the best case scenario. But in this case right now, we're just setting it up on Hostinger to give an example. Now, going into like how you would do that because you're using a server, you're doing all these things. And it's once again, this doesn't matter what it is. This could be N8N, it could be this toolkit, it could be a voice agent platform like LiveKit or Pipecat. It's all the same thing, right? So in terms of using Claude Code, and I'm going taking a step back here a little bit. Let me make sure I don't open that project. So if Jamu or Philip, you guys don't have Claude Code, the way that most people advise people to use Claude Code, especially if you're like non-technical or you're not used to using what's called the terminal on your computer, is you use an IDE in code editor. And you can use many code editors like Windsurf or Cursor or Kiro, but right now to keep it super simple, we're just using Visual Studio Code. So if you download Visual Studio Code, and this is a previous project that I was working on yesterday for that build, so I'm going to close that. And I can share with you guys the YouTube link for the other builds that I did as they kind of lead into like each other and kind of build off each other. I don't know why this didn't let me close this. So on the first day, people who didn't have Claude Code, we set up Claude Code, and then we showed how to organize like files on your computer and stuff. We made something called content, and then kind of fast forward yesterday, I was showing how to scrape information off web pages or social platforms, and we kind of went into self-hosting a little bit. As I was using a platform called Firecrawl, the cloud version, but I talked about how you could self-host them, and now we're here on this day. So I'm opening up my VS Code, and then I need to make a new project, which is basically a folder. And what I recommend is whether you're on Windows or Mac, when you open up your folders, you're going to have a grip of folders. And you need to make a folder where all your projects are going to be at. It can be named whatever. I just happen to name mine code. So when I go in my code folder, I have a whole grip of other projects that I can work on, right? So that's how you as you guys follow along with this, maybe later on, and maybe you're doing it right now. I'm not sure, right? And then I'm just going to make a new folder name. And that's going to be NCA Toolkit. I'm just going to name it challenge so I can reference the challenge. And also because I already have NCA Toolkit things here. So we're going to open this up. And now we're in a blank project. Now, granted, you might be talking, asking like, what is the NCA toolkit or whatever the case may be. And if I come here and I just actually start typing that in. Obviously, I go to this GitHub a lot or I have it saved. It's like I said, an API that's free that a friend of mine made that I work for in his community to basically edit content and transform content and do a plethora of things. And the directions would be here. So going into like why Claude Code is a very cool tool, regardless of if you're technical or not. If you can grab the instructions, it's really much all you need to help you get started, regardless of whether it gets it wrong or something happened. And I want to emphasize the goal is like not for Claude Code to get everything right the first time, even though that's great. More importantly, you should be kind of asking question of what's going on and what's happening so you can understand these new kind of domains and areas that you're getting into with using a VPS or putting something on a server if you've never done that. Because as you can see, some of these platforms that I named here, they have this stuff going on, right? So my first thing, if make sure if you like Paul and JMO, if you have something, because sometimes I go too fast, like type in the chat so I can see it, so I can answer your question while we're going through this, right? So I have all the instructions here. I would just come take this here, and then I'm gonna fast forward a little bit as well too. If you see me like not typing, there's a tool called Whisper Flow where I'm just talking and it's typing for me. So I'd come back here. There's two ways you would start up Claude Code in the IDE go to. Specifically in VS Code, you click on this little box over here, click extensions, type in Claude, and this extension right here would pop up. You see this little icon here, you click on it and you'd be able to use it. I'm gonna do this the old school way where I'm just in my terminal. I'm gonna close this chat so it's not annoying. And I have my terminal dragged all the way to the top just in case it looks like somebody with their pants on the way up. Now I'm gonna type in Claude. I'm gonna start Claude. Now, Adrian, I will have like for sure later today some of those settings and like stuff that I talked about with my prefigured thing because I accidentally changed some stuff last night that I didn't mean to because Claude Code itself had an update. So if you notice like these weird colors and stuff, I got you covered on that. Don't worry. Um, so first thing I'm gonna do is use this tool called Whisperflow and just literally explain my idea and say, I have a really cool project that I want to use and test out and self-host on Hostinger on my VPS. Can you take a look at this first and create a plan for it? All right, so it did that. I'm going to paste this URL. Then it's going to do its own little thing there. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Now, something else I need to check on. I'm going to let it answer some of that stuff. But one of those things I need to check on, right, was what was it? It just slipped my mind because it was run out because I closed it hosting. Because when you let your server die or you don't pay your bill, things got to restart back up and they don't happen automatically. So I'm just going to make sure all the good stuff is there. Now, granted, that's not something I would normally do. Um, in this case, it's not like life or death with this particularly what's running on here. Um, so I think it's all right to be memory. Oh, you know what? I don't think anything's on here at all. And it's fine. I'm going to show you how I'm going to like actually check that and do things and not get into the technicalities of like what you would normally do is click this terminal button here and have to operate through the terminal, which I do know how to do, not by heart. Of course, sometimes I ask ChatGPT, but we're not going to do that. And I still think actually some of my stuff is loaded because I can look here and see that usage 25% out of my 400 gigs. So maybe something's still safe there, but it's not life or death. I'm not too concerned about it. So let's come back here. It still
Yeah,
wants to.
I was gonna ask you if you have anything preloaded on that VPS or if you're starting from scratch from clean slate.
That be you now, usually I don't know. I think it's determined on like settings of the VPS plan you buy and other things. Normally, like if you pay your bill and the VPS dies, they don't erase anything because technically like the VPS isn't deleted. It's just like inactive for you because you didn't pay the bill, if that makes sense.
No, no, that's not what I mean. With once you have VPS, let's say paid and you got the service, and then you're setting it up first, you can choose which image you want to
Yeah. Oh,
install.
yeah. Yeah. I'll go. Yeah.
Whether you want
Yeah.
just like Debian, or do you want Debian with Coolify, and then or like
Yeah. So I have
Debian with
Ubuntu. Yeah. So right
or
here.
Ubuntu with N8N already on it, or Ubuntu and Coolify, and then you stack things on top of that because you
Yeah.
want to Coolify in.
So and I'm assuming, I don't know if you've used Hostinger. It's very simple. You go to VPS. It'll ask you some questions right here. Right. So same thing like you're saying. I pick Ubuntu, click a very clean version. Some people, because they're using Docker, they pick like a Docker configure version, but I like having the OS version clean so you can install Docker on it, if that makes sense, instead of like spinning one up with Docker on it. I don't know the exact differences, but there are differences on what that preset is.
Yeah, so if you click on before you click on select, if you can go back for a second, click on application,
Mhm. And it'll be like
and you
Docker
see
right
yeah, you
here.
can choose. I think is there Coolify over here? Wait, one
I
of
can
these
check.
has.
Yeah, it's right
There you
here.
go. Coolify, yeah.
Mhm.
So if you choose that one, then it's gonna you're gonna have the OS with Coolify, and then you can install things on top of it. Versus in a one time when I set it up, I chose like N8N, so it installed it with N8N, but then you don't have
You
Coolify, so
can't get
then you
anything
have to
else.
like,
Exactly,
yeah,
kind
it's
of.
it's a,
Yeah.
it's a messy
So
thing. And
so that's kind of like the same thing that I'm doing. I guess it's more technical with the Ubuntu, if that makes sense.
mhm. So
Ubuntu is
you're gonna
just
go with plain OS, and then you're gonna have Claude help you set up Coolify and everything on top of it with N8N.
yeah, I'll have to. I never used the Coolify one, and I didn't know it was it's in Hostinger right here. I thought Coolify like was its own
Hmm.
thing entirely. But yeah, I get what you're saying. But yeah, that's like the same thing for the Ubuntu one. It's just like you being a little bit more like technical with like how I do it is everything I install on there is its own folder in that giant like file history, if that makes sense. So like root,
Hmm.
like well not root, but slash LiveKit slash pipecast slash N8N. That's how like all my projects live. I'm assuming Coolify is like the same thing, but more already set up, so you don't have to do anything. One click deploy. They already know what the commands are, so you don't have to go in there and even run in and all those other things.
Yeah, yeah, that's the main, I guess, appeal for Coolify, that you have that one click deploy of I guess projects, right? You can say, hey, I want MinIO, I want N8N, I want NCA Toolkit,
Well,
I
going back
want.
to what I'm going to show right now to what I did earlier, I'm just going to use the SSH MCP tool to do that. And
Hmm.
I don't have to go log in and do anything.
All right, so you're just
Not
going to
to
use
say that that's
Claude.
better.
So you're just going to use Claude to do all of that for you. So you're going to take clean OS, clean slate OS, and then use Claude to set up everything for you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna reconnect this with
Hmm.
the SSH MCP, see if there's stuff already on there. If there is, I'm just gonna tell it to make a new one, name it, and
Copy.
then we'll kind of do it like how it was from Firecrawl yesterday. Like I'm gonna pull that actual
All
IP
right.
and then just show it being
Rock and
used.
roll. Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's come back here. This is right. So it's just like asking me, right? So here comes the cool part. Um, You might have to exit plan mode, but I can turn on actually, when it asks questions like this and you try to do a slash command, yeah, it won't let you actually. I can turn on the SSH MCP and then you can check all of the settings for yourself actually. Right, and then it's asking me, do I want a domain? Like, yes, I do have one. Um, what will I primarily use it for? I don't know why it's asking me that because that really doesn't matter. And it's asking me what the storage is. Yep, I will use digital. I mean, we're using S3, so it doesn't matter what you use. It could be DigitalOcean, it could be Supabase, it could be AWS. Just as long as it runs on the S3 protocol, you would be able to use that. So for in this case, I'm just going to use DigitalOcean because on Hostinger, I don't know how like I guess in a Coolify sense or another dependency, like what you would download on that VPS to specifically have S3 storage, and plus
Yeah,
I find
so
it easier.
I can tell you what others recommended. It was MinIO,
I think they just
MINIO,
I think they've
and
changed
that's
some things though because of like they got acquired and stuff like that. Because and the only reason I say that is because Steven with the NCA Toolkit has a local version with min.io, and that doesn't even work anymore because the people who acquired it changed the license to where it can't be used locally. So I would assume some other things have been done with the cloud version, and that's one reason why Steven never recommended. I could be wrong about that. Of course, you may be telling me some new stuff right now, but to my knowledge, yeah, I just found personally going to DigitalOcean, $5 is like the easiest. And if we were to get if if Cloudflare didn't have a really stupid S3 setup, I would just tell people to go there because it's free and you can just really get started with no money. So Cloudflare and Superbase are the only ones you can do that with, but Cloudflare has really strict rules on like how they use the S3 bucket to like do stuff to where I personally wouldn't even use it.
maybe we can ask Claude to see if it can figure out if possible. I'd love to keep everything on Hostinger, so that you kind of keep it in one place instead of all over the place. But if DigitalOcean is the only way to go for the S3 bucket, then so be it. But
Yeah,
if maybe
I
Claude can
don't,
figure out like what storage what S3 storage we can use on Hostinger.
well, they don't, they're usually like not deployed like that, if that makes sense. Like on a VPS. That's why I'm saying that. Like usually they're already attached to like a cloud provider of some sort. I'm not sure if I'm explaining that correctly. Because you can't like, besides those companies like min.io that have a self-hosted version for the S3, you can't just like spin up S3 hosted, or if I'm being more technical, like technically you could, just use the SDK and install it on there. I do think that that's a little bit more work though than just going to get uh, a S3 bucket. And I guess kind of what I'm trying to say is besides min.io, you know what? Let me think in real time because I think Steven sent me one and I think I know the name right now. I think it's called Pocket Base. Let me see. Well, first let me say this first. I'm having this go through all those questions, but I think it's called Pocket Base. Yeah, now to kind of go into, I guess, my perspective on this. Yeah, I believe it's this one. He even sent me this one as like an alternative because they allow you to self-host and have file storage. It's just when I go to documentation and then I immediately see something like this, I'm not going to use it. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. But if I see, please keep in mind, this is still under active development. It's not fully backwards compatible, and it's not recommended for production or critical applications, wouldn't use it. But there probably are other things out there, but that's kind of how I judge that. For me personally, with like I said, I use a plethora of a lot of tools. But if I was like, where am I going to keep all this? Of course, I think there's other variables that like determine it. More than likely, I always go with Superbase because with Superbase, a free account can have two free projects, and it's probably more than enough for you to dedicate one project where you just use it for S3. And even maybe eventually you use that entire project
Mm-hmm.
for other things around that,
All
right?
right,
Or maybe you will never have a database. You just need the files. You only put it in DigitalOcean or Cloud.
copy.
You get what I'm saying?
All right.
That's my perspective on. I do understand the all living in one space, but in some ways I don't think it matters compared to like, and this might be a little too technical or a bad analogy, like go high level, how that's an all in one and everything's in there. You get what I'm saying? Like that makes sense on a lot of levels. This even like you don't get extra performance or anything with that. You kind
Right.
of get what I'm saying, and then the NCA
He,
toolkit automatically uploads to S3, so it wouldn't even matter if
right.
it was. but there are other ways to think of it. I don't want to be kind of biased in that thinking. I'm just giving my perspective on how
Right.
I think about that.
Let me, so from my perspective, the way I'm looking at it is it's just one less dependency to deal with, right? So if you have, let's say, everything set up on Hostinger and you got, let's say, MinIO as the S3 bucket on Hostinger or something else that does your S3, then you can back up the whole server. And if something happens, you're restoring to a known state with all the services that you need in one place. If you
And so,
have if you
yeah,
have
I don't mean to
DigitalOcean, then
interject.
you have DigitalOcean in separate place. So if something goes, if it goes down over there, then you got just one more dependency to deal with. See
And
what I'm saying?
I think you're right. And this may be my lack of understanding. You know how you just said like the backups and stuff? That's the reason why I'm going to DigitalOcean because those platforms that are giving you the S3 have that there. Doing it from a whole singer, like besides the min.io, you kind of like it's more upkeep, I guess, is what I'm ultimately trying to say at the end of the day, opposed to
Mm-hmm.
paying $5 to DigitalOcean as an example, and you just need the API keys and you're all good. Those will never change. I could be wrong. I do need to do more research, but when I went into um, like that's what I was gonna do. And to be honest, that's the only reason I still have this DigitalOcean account because I would have gave it to my cousin for free with the 100 credits. But when it came to like where am I gonna have just for testing purposes, right? Like because I already had some things already like there with the N8N go into that bucket in
Mm-hmm.
automations, right? So when I changed that, I had to change the IP, right? So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just change the bucket too. And that's when I went into this whole circle of what I'm explaining now. Like I was gonna go to min.io and then let's see really quick
Mm-hmm.
if I go to min.io self-host. Of course, we could ask Claude. I'm probably not gonna do this from here, but I'm gonna do it because I wanted to search. And actually, and I don't mean to segue just a little bit. Let me go to the source of where I saw that in the actual community. All right, so I saw, oh, now you don't want to pop up? I feel like maybe if I don't type that, I'll actually find what it was. But I know it's something that was here that, because I take, me and Steven talk about these things a lot, because I have a lot of updates that I've wanted to push to the toolkit. But yeah, I
And
might just have
I'm
to do
open
some.
to, I'm open to new ways of doing things. If putting it on DigitalOcean is going to be less pain. I'm open to that. I was just going with the old kind of
Yeah,
recommendation of actually setting up.
I don't mind looking into that. I don't have the answer right now, but just me
Hmm.
remembering that that was the same thing I was trying to do, and I don't even have a min.io spent up to test was from that post that I saw in here and other research that I did at that time, where I was just like, I'm just gonna leave it on digital and it'll be fine. And I do.
How much space do they give you on that plan that you have?
I'll go check right now. I swear I want to say it's at least 100. I could be wrong, but it's way more than enough for like it costs $5, but I have like hella credits on here, so I don't pay for anything on my DigitalOcean account. So this is does this tell me this? Where do I need to go to billing for that? I know I pay $5. I'm just not sure on 250 gigs. I think that's what that means there
All right,
of
cool.
storage for $5. So I don't know the specifics between what it is between Cloudflare and all the other ones, but kind of back to like I said, my perspective is like Supabase is good because you can have free projects, and for me, my thing is like from a business standpoint, uh, with leads, databases, videos, I would put that all in there because back to your point, like um, I haven't set up self-hosted Supabase to put on a droplet to have in all in one place with DigitalOcean. I just pay for the cloud version. I don't mind because even if I didn't want to pay, I can just use one of my emails for a free account for that project. So it costs me nothing. So now coming back here. So this is asking me about this so again, and I really think it's because it's still in plan mode and it can't use the MCP tool yet. So it's like probably gonna do some stuff. So let's see. So yeah, it actually is doing that. Let me just stop all this because I'm not even gonna have it waste time and do that. So I have MCPs here that's not there. So I need to first turn off all these MC. I don't like when it doesn't do the command, right? So MCP disable, disable all of those NPCs. And then back to what we did yesterday. I don't know why it's not there, but we're going to type in SSH MCP. This is a MCP server that allows you to literally SSH, which is the commonly normal way of like logging into a server, um, to access that server and kind of do what I'm about to do with like this cool setting up self-hosted stuff. And sorry, I just clicked the wrong application. Um, can you go through this and read it so we can set up this server I want to connect to? And I could tell it because I was already connected to that. Like it probably had the same files, I mean, like information, but because I don't know like what the actual password of this is still, which it probably should be the old one. That's what I'm just gonna have this test really quick.
Can you
That's
pop
how
that MCP, that GitHub link to that
yeah.
MCP in the chat? Thank you.
Oh, I hate when that little thing pops up. Wait, no, this little thing down here. There we go. Sorry, I saw your question late, Philip. Railway, I haven't used. So I've used Railway before. The only reason I don't suggest it is because when I first was learning how to self-host N8N, I kind of got caught up, like, or you'll get caught up in this whole template thing. Like, people make templates and it's easy to deploy. Well, what I found out the hard way is that those templates are not supported by Railway. So like anything that basically isn't made by Railway that you try to use on there, like isn't supported. So if you try to go into Discord or anywhere else to get help, you're really just gonna come back to Claude Code. And that doesn't mean Claude Code can help you, but I kind of really didn't like that. So I leaned away from Railway. I do like that they kind of start you off, I think, with like a $5 credit. And that's not me saying that it's not a good platform. I guess like what I'm used to and how it operates isn't really um like it made sense, but that just wasn't an environment I wanted to be in if I wanted to like self-deploy stuff, especially if it was something that I really kind of needed to learn. And as I was like learning how it worked, because some of these deployments, I guess, in my opinion, are simple. It's just simple environmental variables that you need. It was just way too much. Like I spent way too much time trying to even get to the point of understanding that like Railway doesn't support these because these are all just templates, not even made by them. So of course they're not going to maintain something that's not made by them. So coming back here. So the easiest way to add this, so first, and also this is another thing that you shouldn't do is basically put your passwords in the chat. Obviously, I change all of my password and environmental variables, and I'm just making this very easy. But usually you just want to have like the large language model guide you to that file step by step. So you can put the variable there. So what I'm doing right now is just giving it my IP address. And then I'm pretty sure I'm going to change my password, but I'm pretty sure that be the password. Should be the password. If it's not the password, I'll just restart it and see what it is.
So step one is to install that MCP so that Claude can connect to Hostinger,
Correct.
correct? All right, copy.
So I'll let it
Yeah, I
install.
got my Claude account, so I'm gonna try to follow along with you.
Okay. Oh, so this still wants to keep going back to plan mode, which is fine. And go ahead. I don't want to plan any of that yet. I just wanted to connect really quick just so I can already get that out the way. So when it goes in plan mode, it's can boom, boom, boom. And when you take it out of plan mode, that doesn't mean like it forgot the plan or anything like that. It's just going through this process. And because I'm connecting an MCP, I have to restart Claude and do the conversation over anyway. So it really doesn't matter about the plan mode at this point because I know I got to change it. That it isn't showing up on the list, which kind of makes sense because I've said this before. Usually when you add an MCP, well, first off, you'll kind of see like this message right here. But sometimes, and it's so funny, it's saying like done restarted, like it can restart itself or do something. So let's close it. Let's restart it back. We do slash MCP, and then I can see SSH MCP connecting. It's only in this project. I could have it whenever I open my Claude code and do that, but right now it's just connected to this project. So that's fine. I can go back into that conversation by typing slash resume. And then it told me we don't have any conversation, which is funny. So did I do something wrong right now? I don't know why it's saying that. That's interesting. Okay. Um, yeah, why is it saying that though? We just had a Anyway, I'm not even gonna get caught up in that. Not a really big deal. So we're connected to the MCP, and then because for some reason now, since we don't have that same conversation, which is super weird, we're gonna come back to the original, just literally the README file. I wouldn't even have to do the README file. I could just literally tell it, uh, search up the no code architect toolkit instructions, but I'm just gonna put this here to make it easier. I want you to install this on my VPS. So actually, I'm going to take this out of plan mode really quick. I'm going to show you something. I want you to install this on my VPS. I want you to take a look at the URL I'm going to give you, and then I want you to take a look at my VPS and see what's currently installed. And if I do have a version of the NCA Toolkit installed, I want to create another one on another folder. Now, I'm being specific there because I might already have some stuff on here, even though I started back up my MCP. So I just want to make that process of searching all that stuff and verifying that to me very clear, quick, and easy. And then it can create that plan and bada bing, bada bang, boom, bam, bing. So it's running commands. It's seeing what's on my server. Let me pull this up just so this is a little bigger. Wish I can pull this down here, but they don't let you do that. But it is what it is. So I got an error. It said connection failed. Maybe it didn't connect. It said, oh, I was able to fetch, but the SS failed. Valid credentials. So let's do this. I assume that my password is reset or something like that. So let's just do, maybe I'm gonna just type in the same thing again, actually, just to see. Oh, no, I'm slow. That's not what actually, I wouldn't ever remember what it is because they make you do this stupid symbol thing or tell me I can't have a symbol at the end and it throws me off. Uh, or it's supposed to be like that. Yeah, it's actually like that. Yeah. So one thing I don't like about hosting it, they're so picky about that. Actually, change that to very sure that's what I would have put if I can't put a dollar sign or exclamation point. And what's the difference between an at sign and a dollar sign and exclamation point? I literally don't understand it. And then this told me, please change it. I don't know why it would say it can't change something like that. And then it goes to look and then it changes it. This don't listen to your AI the first time, guys. Like it added the MCP, but it can't edit it or take it out. Like, okay, Claude, you got me. Oh, maybe it will do that. And maybe it might actually do that just because I'm making fun of it and just because I'm recording right now. That makes sense. And then if this continues to fail, I have another trick to easily go edit that because I do even myself find it just way too much to go into that specific Claude file for when you add a MCP to change something. Because I might be slow. Yeah, I didn't even add it inside of here, so I can't even. Oh wait, no, I might be able to. Uh-huh. Let's see. Stop. I've changed the password and saved it. You can try again. Okay, so let's hope I'm lucky, because if not, I'm just gonna reset the entire thing and put something new in there. Make sure it goes through. And I think the password, if you usually don't set it, is something simple like root or root slash. No, I think it's just admin actually. I think that's like what it is if you don't put anything. He's like, don't run anything, just run a command. You don't have to read the file. I just told you already. Sometimes AI just wants to do a little bit too much. Reading 4 files and there's like literally one file. Claude is funny right now. I need to update this so I can play with 4.6 later. The rumors might be true. Maybe they did degrade how 4.5 runs. And so for some reason, it can't run this. Okay. I mean, I thought I updated it because I saved it, but I mean, apparently not. I guess you have to remove it and then add it again. And then I have to restart Claude and add it again. Oh, I guess. All right. Well, and that could really be the right password, but I don't want to sit here and go through that. So this is going to be called CC challenge 1, 2, 3. Very simple. So that's going to update that. It's going to take a few minutes, literally the time that it took to come down here and change back into this. I have updated the password to this. And actually, to just save myself time, I'm going to close this. I'm actually just going to go here. And because my Claude desktop has access to all of my files, just like Claude Code, as you watch other builds, you'll hear me say this. I find it easier to edit Claude Code outside of Claude Code because of kind of what you just saw me go through. But I like to show that so it makes sense of why I'm doing this. So I can say, can you please update the MCP and the NCA Toolkit project for Claude Code as the password is incorrect? Why did it not? Okay, Whisper Flow fail me. Can you look inside of my code folder and there is a project called NCA Toolkit Challenge. I need the password for the MCP for the SSH updated. Oh, and it didn't type anything that time. Oh, so it's just making fun of me right now. It's testing. Oh, oh, okay. It's just being slow. That's funny. So let's watch it do that magic really quick. It's usually, of course, if you've already had your password or your thing then die or reset, you wouldn't be going through this simple problem. But I guess I like to show these things, when you have problems of how to troubleshoot and stuff like that, because some people may not know how to do it. Can you just please follow my command? I don't like to say command, but of course. Uh, I don't know why sometimes when I'm on calls, my Claude just not doesn't like to do what it does for me without even asking questions. I think it knows that like I'm on a call.
Called Murphy's Law, Thailand. Stuff always breaks down at the worst possible
It's
time.
like, huh? I don't get it. Like all of a sudden, it's running all this stuff, but all of a sudden, yesterday we connected very easy, right? But all of a sudden today, it just doesn't want to uh, connect. So let's let it troubleshoot and do
You know,
whatever it's
it's
going to
it's
say.
it's all good. At least it kind of represents how, how it is in real life, you know.
Oh
It's not
yeah,
just
for
a
sure.
polished video where everything works and you just click through and everything is just gonna. No, it's just kind of messy sometimes, and that's how it
Yeah,
is. So,
for sure. As someone who literally plays with these technologies every day, I don't think there's ever been a day where like that doesn't happen. And like to be honest, I'm not gonna say I don't care. I think really for me, it's more so just knowing how to navigate that truly, so you don't get stuck. And a majority of the time, sometimes like these things are very trivial and they happen all the time. But if you're not used to that, you won't get that same like perspective or feeling.
you didn't want to set up an SSH key and use that instead of the password.
Sometimes it will do that, and I'm not sure if I already have that, but I might end up doing that if this ends up not loading in like 10 more seconds. I usually just find the password very simple. I mean, to be honest, both ways are kind of bad because they're not being hashed, meaning like it's not putting that there and then making it look like an asterisk or something else. Just the fact that it's already open like that. Of course, we're doing this locally, so like it's fine with along like what I said, just
Yeah.
don't put it in the chat, right? Like that does get around that. But in general, it is something you want to have hashed. But even the SHA won't be hashed. Like it will be open for everyone to see if that kind of makes sense, which is why I just default to the password. Now, to your point too, even without the MCP, I could just do the SSH. But to be honest, usually I never actually have problems with this at all. And it'd be interesting to do a test. Give me 1 minute. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to check something really quick. And I think somebody else just joined. I want to say hi, Michael. How you doing? If you have any questions about what's going on, feel free to come off the mic or raise your hand and type in the chat. Just like a quick overview. Today is about self-hosting. We're using Claude Code to self-host a API that's built on top of a software called FFmpeg that transform media files, uh, cuts it up, and does like a plethora of other things. So right now, I've just been going through the process of like, I had a server which I forgot to pay my bill, so I paid my bill, started up my server. Now I'm using Claude Code to connect to that server and use the documentation of the tool that I'm referencing in order to connect and build this platform for people who are not technical and do it like the technical way. So any questions, feel free to put it in the chat or come off the mic and I'd be happy to answer them. So back to what you were saying, Adrian, for some reason, right, this wants to mess with me today and not work. So let's just have Claude just do the SSH and do all that stuff by itself. First, let's see if it remembered our conversation. And I think something might be, let's see. I see. That might be why. Oh, okay. I will have to. So I want to think about that because I feel like my Claude code is messing up. And it might be a bug because of the new update that just came out yesterday, but I'm not sure. But I'm not sure why I'm getting a doctor one. So let's see. I'm just looking at this MCP load really quick. And it tells me I'm connected, which is weird. So can you tell me what is in my VPS? Go out of plan mode so it can just run. Nope. So all it's still not connected. I was using my password and I did reset it. It doesn't seem like that's working. Can we just SSH into it and create a key? If so, that would be great. And then I'm going to just come back to my VPS and grab my IP address. Put that there. And preferably, like, so when you are buying a VPS or logging into a server, SSH is usually the preferred method and secure method, but they do have passwords that you can use to um, just use that. For this case, I just want to use the password and not get into the SSH thing, but it is something that Claude Code can take care of and use it. So I do have them, which are probably for other projects and other things, but let's just see how Claude Code goes through this with that stuff. So it wants me to update this, which is, can't you just do that for me? I don't know why. And it's no problem. I encourage like copying commands and running it in the terminal to get used to, but it is something that like Claude Code can usually do for you. I can try, but SSH with password authentication requires interactive input, which I don't understand what that has to do with just, oh, no, that is right. It is making me more smarter because when you do have to change something like that, it has to, yeah. So, and I still might get this. What did I say? I said, clipboard. Nah, that isn't what I'm gonna say. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't know what they're against me today.
When you add that MCP, do you need to restart Claude for it to show up in the MCP server list?
Yeah, for anything that you add MCP to, you usually have to restart it and
Got it. Thanks.
start it back up. Yeah, for it to show. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Once it updates again, I got to stop it and then start it and then run that command one more time and say, tell me what's on my VPS. Then it says funny stuff like that, like it's not in the config file, even though it's in the Claude file. So let it get its marbles back together. Which is why I like to have tools like this on a my main like user level instead of a project level. Because one, whenever I start up Claude Code, I will have access to that MCP, and it's the type of MCP that will probably be used, like it's not related to a project, so I just wouldn't tie it there. But also, depending on what project I'm doing, I might need that VPS to do something in. So usually I don't have them on the project level. I have them on the user level, so it's just active. But I, because I've been playing around with some settings, something might have happened. But I don't like how like it's specifically taking a long part time on this part, which should not be happening, and it's kind of irritating me. So, okay, let's do this because this is that really, really is bothering me. And I don't know if something's wrong with this chat or not, but like it should not be taking that long. Can you tell me what's on my MCP, the SSH one? No. Oh, so this really doesn't like me today or something. I don't know what's going on, but it doesn't want to. I've already done this process and connected my SSH key. Now, really quick, Agent, you're probably like not having this problem. You can still do all those things I've said, and it will be setting it up for you. I just don't know why right now this VPS is giving me a problem. Um, I'm not really sure because I already added a SSH key, so I guess feel free to go through what you need in order to figure out what needs to be done. Which I think this is the longest I've ever had to have a problem with setting up something, which kind of makes me upset because for the NCA Toolkit, it takes about 5 minutes to install on Docker. Um, and it's very simple. Would have actually been done faster than manually, to be completely honest. But for some reason, this cannot authenticate. Yeah, okay. See, I'm glad. If it's working for you guys, that's I'm good, and I can still walk you through it. I just want to be a little visual here and kind of go through like the troubleshooting of what it what would happen like if it wasn't working in what you were doing. Um, I'm just very curious on why this is acting retarded, but I'm glad it's working for you guys. So it's asking, can I verify the current password? And we both saw me literally put this in. It's gonna say it's gonna update it again. And then it takes forever to read this file to update it, like which I'm not under. Is it because I have the file open? Is sometimes it does that, like I don't. Oh yeah. Oh, so that's a thing in VS Code. Ah, okay. Didn't know that. Don't use VS Code. That doesn't happen inside of Windsurf. I guess because I had that actual page open, it was like I feel like it didn't want to read it or something like that. It was taking forever. And then as soon as I closed it, it opened again. So weird. Can you tell me what's on my VPS? All right. Fingers crossed. Maybe the MCP is not on. MCP is connected. You have the MCP. Okay, there we go. Finally. I don't know why that took like 15 minutes. I was embarrassed for myself. So I didn't erase all the things that I have because I can see within that namespace that is from my Twitch vibe coding project that I'm building. So this is going to tell me everything I have on here. All right. So I have all these directories. I already have an NCA Toolkit. I have an N8N. I have a LiveKit. I have Excalidraw. I have some stuff for some other projects that I'm doing. And then this is letting me know what ports and everything is on. So I'm going to say, I want to create another NCA toolkit to deploy. Is this possible? How should I do this? And we can set it up. I'm actually not going to have it go in plan mode right now because I just don't want it to take a little bit longer. It's going to have it let it run and do its thingy. So, second. Oh, questions is asking me. The toolkit is running from a local Docker image, which I don't want. That makes sense. I have like multiple toolkits on this device and in general, like everywhere. The new existing image, NCA Toolkit latest, can be reused. No need to rebuild. Before we proceed, what ports should the new instant run on? Should it use a different API key? Should the storage be the same bucket? I am going to use just the same bucket that I already have set up, Adrian. I'm not going to create a new one. But if I go to my DigitalOcean and you go to your API, actually, I'm so slow. You don't do any of those things. You go to so first off, if you don't have it, you come to Spaces, and then you would like this would be blank, but it would say purchase a space, and then you would create a bucket, and you would do that. When you get a bucket, it's gonna have settings, and then you just come make an access key, and then it gives you the API key, which you then put right in uh, what you need for when you run your S3 storage, right? So all of this is the same no matter where it's set up. If you use S3, you have to put the environmental variables, the access key, the region, and all those things, which is pretty easy information to get on whatever S3 provider that you're using. So you could easily connect up the DigitalOcean API. You saw me do that yesterday, right? When I actually made a bucket and do that. So you could do that to make all of these other things, and it just knows how to pull that in um, automatically. But for just fast forwarding that, first off, does that make sense, Adrian, what I'm saying so far with that? Or
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
S3 provider that you use? Okay.
Hmm.
I am just fast forwarding through that because I'm gonna have this use the same credentials and all that stuff like that. So it's making another toolkit, but it's gonna use the same S3 bucket and stuff to send inside there, which won't conflict with the other one because it's just a storage bucket that the files are gonna be going into and stuff like that. It can be on any port, and the API key can be the same. It could use the same S3 bucket. And yes, this is a separate project. So then it's gonna go through that. And while I'm doing this, just to give like a flashback, I'm pretty sure I have the conversation somewhere because I have hundreds of conversations. But if I type in maybe NCA, oh yeah, if I type in that, it's gonna be a lot of conversations that pop up. But it's probably this one right here. So literally, yeah, this is an old one. And just trying to show something. I was just trying to show the alternate of like this super simple. It's so funny, even though AI can do this and it's pretty fast, I do think actually running this manually is way faster. Because you can like literally go in. So like this is literally what you need, right? And like from a manual way, you just go in terminal. I think you like run one more command before this and you literally paste this and then you're done. Like that's literally it. Which is like the same equivalent to what is doing now, which is why it's like already done right here. Access the new instance. So it's already saying, by the way, agent, it's done, and I'm pretty sure you probably already did it, but yeah, the speed, right? I don't get what you mean. That doesn't look like an actual domain. I just see your VPS. Oh, I'm slow. I'm having a slow moment. I wanted to put that there actually. That's why I'm saying that. Put my actual IP address. You know my IP. I don't know why you put your VPS. All right. So if I took this here. So I can copy this, right? And then like, how would you test this? Now you can test this in Claude Code, but just to be visual, right? Let's go to a automation builder. Doesn't matter what automation builder you go to, and test it, right? Because in this API that was built, there are tests to show that this is running or working, right? So we need an HTTP request. We already have the bait. Whoa, whoa. It's not what I wanted because this didn't copy what I asked for. I'm kind of mad. I hope it didn't like take down my actual one that I wanted. That's why I asked for this to be on a different post. So if I come back here, and of course you can ask it this, but I'm just coming here. If I come back here and then I go to example, so here are some endpoints to like just literally test what's going on, right? So I just need this end part right here. Grab this, paste that right there. I need authentication. Uh, slow mo, even though I know what that is. Yep. So I need a header auth. I think I probably already have the NCA toolkit here somewhere. I don't. I feel like it's that one right there. I'm not sure. So what does this say? Just for people reading this, this says that the header is X API key. Um, that CA Toolkit demo. My API key password is usually API key 123 for simple demos like that. I'm not sure. Just to make sure. I don't think this has anything there. Yeah, it's literally just to get a request. So I could do this. Let's see if I get an error. I don't think I'm getting an error because this is running. I still could get an error. Oh, is this being retarded right now? It is being retarded. So this is running. Authenticate. Success. That means my toolkit is set up. Now let's do one more test, right? Just to make sure. We have another endpoint called test, right? And it's the same thing. I'm just literally taking the end of this and changing it to test. So I actually put a file in my bucket, letting me know that everything is working. So let's execute that and see. Oh, and I think, I don't know how this works anymore with this stuff, but I have to keep doing it like that and then it completes. So weird. So bam, that's complete, that's successful. And that endpoint gives us a file. I can go to that file and there we are. And that file is in my bucket right here. And if I actually go back to the bucket just now. Success. And we have self-hosted and with Claude Code. That easy.
Sweet.
Were you able to get set up?
Now I'm just following you along just to so I don't lose what you're doing.
Got you. Where are you at, Philip? I think Philip said he was following. No, no. What VPS did you install it on? Is that when you were were you downloading the NCA oh, did you do that for your S3 as well or no? How did you solve that? That's something you like it probably won't even let you set it up because you didn't have the S3 thing I was saying, huh? Now, like I said, like of course, like you can interchange these variables and do stuff, right? Like if you're able to connect to the VPS, because all this is in the VPS, it's easy. Like I said, you can go to like Cloudflare, they have free S3. It's just like it's very weird of the rules of that. I would probably go super base, just cloud version, to be honest with you. But you could ask Claude Code for the documentation of any of those and then just switch that stuff out so you can have something like if you want to use it. Like I said, you don't have to use DigitalOcean. I just think it's very like I had already paid $5 to have a bucket and then I have like $100 in credit. So it's just easy for me to always leave this open as a bucket because it's not like tied to a dedicated project. It's just easy to use this whenever I need to like test something with the toolkit or to do something else with it, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of like how I would treat anything. And just like literally the other things that you saw in that VPS, that's that's exactly how I did it. To be honest, I didn't have Claude Code do it. I actually had Claude Desktop do it. So that same MCP is in my Claude Desktop, and I do the same thing to set up stuff. Just to give like a little bit of context before I was fully using Claude Code. But sometimes there's no specific way, right? It's still using the same MCP because you got to connect to the server and not do it manually and play around. It just depends, but yeah, I think that's
Sorry to
all I.
eat up your time on N8N. I
No, you're
guess
fine.
LiveKit, maybe you'll need to make another session for LiveKit separately.
I am like I'm doing VAPI next week. I have a few more days to add, like 4 more days, and then the rest of the 14 days will probably be like picks that people have sent to me. I don't have a problem doing uh LiveKit, but that self-hosting it obviously like it's just a little bit more if that makes sense. Like going into setting up stuff because with anything voice, right, you need a telephone number and all that stuff. And I don't know off the top of my head right now. If they provide free phone numbers when starting with them, like VAPI or retail might do it. I don't think retail does. I think you got to buy it. VAPI does, if that makes sense with that. So I need to do some more just writing down on that. And you don't have to worry, Philip. This is recorded. It will it's going like on my YouTube channel in a Claude playlist specifically, like after an hour when I get everything there for you to watch it. Of course, you can save it for yourself, but these are like going up. These are being recorded right now. But I think that's it. If you guys don't have any questions or anything like that, Adrian, I will keep that in mind for the live kit one. Like I said, I am doing the VAPI one. I might do a retail one. I'm not sure. I really kind of want to keep it really just to VAPI and LiveKit because they're like the voice stuff. I don't want to say it's kind of all the same thing, but that just gets like really in the weeds. I'm not opposed to it though, but yeah. Yeah, if you guys don't have any questions or anything like that, I don't want to keep you overtime if I don't have to or if I'm not working or showing anything. But like I said earlier, if I'm right and I could be wrong, if you go to the Luma calendar, I think they have a button that allows you guys to like submit requests for an event. It could be wrong. But if that is there and you guys want to do that, if you don't have like my LinkedIn or anything like that, I think it's on the Luma. You could reach out to me and then shoot me an idea to do for the rest of the 14 days.
Yeah, I was just going by what you had in your Luma invite for this sessions. You had it listed as self-hosting N8N and LiveKit in parents.
And
So
you know what? I should have just changed that to like self-hosting, if that makes sense. I didn't change
yeah,
that thing because I kind of wanted it really to be like what I know the other people aren't on the mic, but if they had ideas, I would have went into that. And I mean, still kind of happy to. I don't mind, but yeah. Is
how do you
that
add
one
on?
that you
How
were
do you add on
interested
the?
in? And it was
Uh,
the innate in one.
sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no, but I was just saying, was that one that like you wanted to set up was the self-hosting for innate in?
Yeah, I mean, I was looking up LiveKit and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. I want to kind of play around with that. And then I saw that you had that in your invite thing. So I was like, I thought that we're going to be setting that up as well. If that's you know, a
Yeah,
lot of
that one
work,
might just need to be a separate one just because it's
separate
like
one, yeah.
there's so many steps even besides just setting up the agent because there's still like the phone part and
Yeah.
tools and that other stuff if that makes sense. So that was my fault on the title thing and that was kind of one reason why I had did some title changes and was fixing up some of like the flow this week. I just forgot to update that and wasn't really thinking too hard on it.
Yeah. No worries, man. Yeah, if you can set up a separate session if you want to do that, I think that would be a popular one too.
Got you. Yeah, yeah, I have no problem doing live kit. There needs to be I mean more than likely I'm gonna do it because it needs like I don't want to do VAPI and not have a self-hosted solution as an alternative if that makes sense. Because VAPI is probably not everybody's cup of tea. I'm just choosing to use VAPI one because that's the platform that I have the most experience with. And then also I'm a part of like other things that they're doing to kind of bring the community back. But even in general, like it's one of the first platforms that people ask me about is VAPI.
Cool.
Um,
Awesome, man.
all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming. Let me put the YouTube link in here for the other guys that joined. I appreciate you guys for coming. Like I said, this is just really like an interactive session for people to be hands-on in using Claude Code regardless of what you're doing. You don't have to be vibe coding. You don't have to be doing any of those things. But there's a lot of people who play for Claude Code, and they just haven't been able to get their hands on it and like do anything and feel comfortable whether they mess up or not. So that's really why I am throwing these for free to share with anybody. So I just put that link in there. I'll give you guys a few minutes to click on that if you don't have it. And about an hour or two. Some of these they go on pretty long, probably like an hour or two. So I'm on Pacific Coast time. It's 12:30 for me. Probably no later than 3 o'clock. This should be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So guys, it was a pleasure. I will see you guys later. You enjoy the weekend. Of course, we are building tomorrow as well and Sunday. Of course, I know you guys might not be able to show up. As long as you like subscribed on the calendar or did any of that, like you'll get the recordings. It'll be on YouTube and you'll just be up to date. So I guess I'll see you tomorrow then, Philip. We have a good one. I see you guys and you enjoy your day. Don't work too hard.
Appreciate your time and see you
No
later.
problem. See you guys.